Hello there, this is Breakfast with Louise Minchin and John Kay.
After decades of waiting for a Wimbledon men's finalist, Britain wakes up this morning with two. Our reporter Phil Lavelle has been talking to fans as they queue already to get into Wimbledon. Phil, I can't believe we're at this moment. Morning. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Phil. More from you later.
Sunshine there, but torrential rain is still disrupting many parts of the UK this morning, with 175 flood alerts in place and 53 flood warnings.
Well, the worst affected area overnight has been the southwest of England, where the Met Office has issued the highest possible weather warning, asking people to take action to protect themselves and their properties.
Alan Sodi, thank you very much indeed for us.
8 months after the death of Colonel Gaddafi, Libyans will vote today in their first free elections for more than 40 years.
But some rebel groups, particularly in the oil-rich east of the country, aren't happy with the process. Here, members of the Church of England Synod meeting in York are to be asked to ban clergy and church workers from belonging to organisations like the British National Party.
That's you right up to date with the news. More on Andy Murray just after 6:30. And right now, 11 minutes past 6. Let's go back to one of our other main stories. And many parts of the UK are waking up to heavy rainfall this morning, putting 5 million homes at risk from rising waters.
These record-breaking amounts of rain in recent months have started to take their toll, particularly in the last 24 hours. So can we expect the situation to get any better?
It would be nice. BBC Meteor, it has been quite extraordinary. Let's just talk about sort of historical figures.
Yes, yeah.
Over the last 24 hours, it's been quite
It's been very wet, yeah.
It's unprecedented, that red warning, is it?
It's very, very rare for the Met Office to issue.
For obvious reasons, are reluctant to forecast too far into the future. But are you able to tell from where that jet stream is sitting right now how long this might go on for? Are we talking days, weeks?
Yeah,
months?
sorry, it's 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my goodness!
Don't scare
I'm
me.
glad I picked you up on that one.
But I mean, 3 or 4 weeks is
It's
bad
still a
enough,
lot.
isn't it? I mean,
Yes, yeah.
There's one big thing we're all thinking about: the Olympics.
Absolutely,
I mean, the eyes of the world watching Britain. That's not looking great, is it?
Cheering me up at all. With that jet stream, that's happened before, that the jet stream has gone like that, or not?
Yes, I mean, it's quite a common feature that.
Thanks so much. You are coming back later, aren't you?
Yes.
So if anybody's got questions for you, they can send them to us and we'll put them to you later. Thank you very much.
It's cheered us all up, hasn't it? 6:15, you're watching Breakfast from BBC News. The main stories this morning. Joins us this morning. I was going to say good morning, Susan, but I won't. How's it looking?
It's not.
We'll check in with you throughout the morning. Thank you for that.
Quick look at the front page of the papers this morning. The Daily Express. Look, they say, sorry, but there's no might about it. It will rain until September. That's not exactly what Simon King is saying, but it will rain possibly for the next 3-4 weeks. And of course, this picture, or lots of different... No, I think it's mostly that picture makes the front pages of most of the papers as Andy Murray goes through, I can't believe I'm saying this, to the Wimbledon final.
Yeah. And I don't think the papers can believe it either. Look, the Times have got the same front page, the same picture. They say...
Andy, finally.
Andy, finally.
Interesting looking at all the different Andy Murray headlines. Guardian as well. Don't cry, Andy, you've ended us.
And somewhere here, there's a lovely story about a very expensive piece of toast. Oh, here we go. How much would you pay for a piece of toast? Right now,
20p?
probably quite a lot. Yeah.
Maybe £1 right now.
A piece of toast from the wedding of Charles and Diana has gone for £500 in an auction.
I think that's a bit of a shame, you see. Would you leave toast on your wedding day? Maybe you're nervous.
There's no mould on it. Looks pretty good. I'd be tempted.
That's a quick look at the newspapers. We'll look through the insides for you a bit later on the programme.
Now, months of headlines about IT meltdowns, rate fixing, the mess selling of payment protection insurance have probably secured banking's position as the most frowned upon industry in Britain.
But are customers showing their anger by voting with their feet or perhaps their checkbooks? Ramzan Kamali's been looking at whether more people are switching banks and just how easy it is to do so.
The government is to agree in principle to cap the amount elderly and disabled people have to pay for social care. Members of the Church of England Synod meeting in York are to be asked to ban clergy and church workers from belonging to organisations like the British National Party. You are right up to date with the news, 6:32. I just cannot believe that we are saying this. Andy Murray through to the finals.
We've waited a long time.
Morning.
Make sure it's not a...
Thank you very much.
We'll stay with a sporting theme because we've talked a lot about the Olympic torch relay over the last few weeks.
You might remember I was at Land's End for the start of it back in May.
And a couple of weeks ago, the torch came right past our studios here in Salford and we were outside in the pouring rain.
It was a bit soggy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit.
Today, though, we can tell you about a torch relay with a bit of a difference.
Yes, it's the idea of a little boy from Somerset who's trying to raise money for charity. And I went to meet him earlier this week.
We'll keep you right up to date with the weather forecast in just a couple of moments, actually. Also coming up here in the programme.
A lot of people's plans this weekend, and Susan has the latest for us. Hi, Susan.
I do. Of course, keep you up to date throughout the programme this morning. Also, if you are in the southwest, if you've got particular problems, do feel free to get in touch. Tell us what's going on where you are as well.
In the meantime, you know that little boy we just talked about with his paper torch relay? I told you it was going for about 55 quid.
It was going for 55 quid.
Since we did the piece, it's now going for 300 quid.
Oh,
so maybe his millions and billions are not so far off.
It might be 6:48 in the morning, but a lot of very generous people are watching us. Thank you.
We'll keep an eye on it and let you know. He's going to be very happy and the charity will be very happy as well. So we'll keep across that. Thank you.
Now, the promise that we can all go paperless has been around for years, and yet despite computers, emails, smartphones and tablets, it still hasn't happened.
As you can see from the state of our sofa sometimes. In this week's Click, the team have been finding out why many of us are still so dependent on pen and paper. Hello, good morning. This is Breakfast with Louise Minchin and John Kay.
After decades of waiting for a Wimbledon men's finalist, this morning Britain has two.
Morning.
Billions, he said.
Lots, yeah, he's very ambitious and we'll find out exactly how many he has raised a bit later. First, though, our main story in celebrations for Andy Murray this morning as he reaches his first Wimbledon final. But in fact, two British men walk out onto the centre court at Wimbledon this weekend to play for a winner's trophy. Wildcard Johnny Murray also plays today. It's a bit confusing, but he's in the men's doubles final with his Danish partner Freddie Nielsen.
Andy Murray is the first British tennis player to reach the men's singles final at Wimbledon for 74 years. He'll meet Roger Federer tomorrow. Oh, it's so exciting. Our reporter Phil Lavelle has been talking to fans as they queue to get into Wimbledon, and tomorrow the queues, I imagine, are going to be extremely long, aren't they, Phil? It's an understatement, Phil. Thank you very much. More from you later.
Meanwhile, torrential rain is still disrupting many parts of the UK this morning, with 171 flood alerts in place and 56 flood warnings.
The worst affected areas overnight have been the southwest of England, where the Met Office has issued the highest possible weather warning, asking people to take action to protect themselves and their properties. And here on Breakfast in the next few minutes, we'll be getting advice for you on what you can do to protect your home from flooding.
Meanwhile, in other news this morning, a 2-year-old child has died and their parents are critically ill after a high-speed road crash in Devon.
The government is to agree in principle to cap the amount elderly and disabled people have to pay for social care, but there's no agreement on how. 8 months after the death of Colonel Gaddafi, Libyans are voting today in their first free elections for more than 40 years.
Some rebel groups, particularly in the oil-rich east of the country, are not happy with the process, saying they're not being fairly represented.
Well, our correspondent Rana Jawad is in Tripoli for us this morning, and for many this is a really exciting, historic moment, isn't it?
That's this morning's news so far. It's 9 minutes past 7, and let's go back to the story we've been talking about, that flooding and waiting for more flooding right across the UK. People have been affected in the last few days. Homes and businesses have been damaged. And some people will now be left wondering how on earth they're going to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, so what do you do if you have been affected and if warnings are in your area? How do you prepare your home to avoid damage? With us are Heather Sheff. Thanks very much for joining us. Heather, I know that you have personal experience of this. I mean, what are your priorities if your home is, first of all, if it is flooded? What should you do?
Well, it's a very stressful and traumatic time for people.
You talk about scary, potentially dangerous, it is as well. So you have to think, I guess your first priority is safety, is it?
Yes, I mean, you would obviously think of...
Claire, as an insurance expert, you must have had claims already, and looking at the pictures and the forecast, it looks like more claims will probably be coming on the way. I mean, this is potentially a big deal for you, and over a large area, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
as a reporter, I've been out and covered flooding and been in people's houses when they're sort of waist high and they've lost loads of stuff and they're devastated. And there's a lot of cynicism about insurance out there. A lot of people think that, you know, they won't get proper cover or that they can't get proper cover. That's putting a lot of people off.
It is, but I think at times like this, it
won't help, will it?
Well, no, and as we're seeing, you know, these sort of freak occurrences.
Is top priority for them?
Yes, prepare now. Go and sign.
Take your time. Thank you very much. And actually, we will be speaking to Pete Fox as well, from the Environment Agency. He'll be able to give us an update on the situation at 8:10 here on Breakfast.
Yes, we can also go live now to our reporter John Ayres, who's in Devon for us this morning. My goodness, John, that should be a road, should it? For sandbags for some people there, doesn't it? I mean, what's the mood among people? That obviously they got a warning last night that there was this red severe alert. Do they feel that they had enough warning? It's for us in Yampton in the South Hams in Devon. Thanks for that. Susan Power was telling us earlier that it looks like it's sort of moving east very slowly into Dorset and Hampshire this morning. So we'll keep across that.
Yes, and you know that you get a forecast every half an hour here on Breakfast. We'll have one what is it, a quarter... in just a couple of moments.
In a minute. Stay tuned. It's 7:15. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. The main stories this morning are for the first